What if the way you manage money isn't just about dollars, but about self-worth, identity, and healing? In this episode, I'm joined by Scarlett Stanhope, aka the Biz Hippie. Scarlett shares her story of how reprogramming her internal narrative around money, safety, and self-worth was the key to creating true abundance. Whether you're stuck in scarcity, feel shame around money, or want to feel more confident and in control of your finances, this conversation is full of aha moments and grounded guidance to help you shift from survival to overflow. Welcome to the Manifestation and Money Podcast, the show where we tackle the taboo topics of money and manifestation. I'm your host, Jenni Schultz, former 9-to-5 grinder who ditched the status quo and went all in on creating a life I love. Yes, I use manifestation. Yes, I took action. And yes, I created a 7-figure net worth before turning 40. Every week, I'll bring you inspiring stories with money mavens and manifestation masters. From learning how to make more, save more, and grow your wealth to unlocking the power of manifesting your dream life. I am so excited to play in this space with you. Let's jump into creating a life you love. Welcome to the Manifestation and Money Podcast, Scarlett.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here today, Jen. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. Can you please share with the listeners just who you are and what your story is?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Scarlett Stanhope, aka the Biz Hippie, and I am an abundance coach. And so what I do is I help individuals, especially entrepreneurs, healers, coaches, transform their relationship with money from the inside out. In my work, I combine tangible money management techniques so you can feel really in control of your money and feel really confident with your money. And I combine that with really important scarcity dispelling, coaching, deep transformational inner work techniques that help you really own your worth and step into your next level of abundance. And when you combine these together, that's when you can make living your most abundant life a reality right here, right now.
So good. And have you always had an amazing relationship with money?
No, I have not always had an amazing relationship with money. I have always had a quote, good relationship with money, but that didn't always mean it was a healthy relationship with money. It's kind of like, if you're in a romantic relationship with someone and it looks really great on the surface, like from the outside, where you're like, oh, they have the fancy car and they go on trips often and things like that. But inside, really, the relationship is chaos. That's how I would describe my past relationship with money, where even though I was really good at saving and I started working from a young age and I didn't have credit card debt and paid for college out of pocket and had no student loans, I was checking a lot of awesome boxes in terms of money and what is societally deemed like being good with money. I was really letting money control my life and letting money dictate what careers I did, what I chose to do, what I chose not to do. And really, money had control and power over me. So even though I was doing good with my money, really, I felt unfulfilled and dissatisfied with my life and was going down this really harsh downward spiral and found myself in a intense rock bottom. And in order to break free from that, transforming my relationship with money played a huge role in that, because I had to redefine success and redefine what was most important to me. And money has definitely had a huge impact in that journey.
Yeah, definitely. So how did you shift from chasing those, I guess, external validations in a sense to living in alignment with purpose?
There was many years of a process, but some of the foundations that played a role in that was developing deeper layers of self-trust, self-love, self-confidence, rediscovering who I was and the kind of life I wanted to live, because I had just been motivated by success and perfectionism and what I should be doing and getting good grades and checking boxes and doing it right. So peeling back those layers and saying, oh, if I remove this expectation of doing it right and who I should be, then what is actually important to me? What do I value? What do I want to prioritize? What kind of life do I want to live? And so uncovering and discovering that, and then very actively choosing to make that my reality, even if it was uncomfortable or challenging or scary, or I felt like I had to kind of fight my family to be like, no, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm choosing. So it was a very active process of discovering, who am I? What kind of life do I want to live? And how can I actively choose that life every single day and commit to living that life?
I love that so much. That resonates with my belief system. And I feel like my story is so similar to yours in you're just checking off the boxes, and that can feel so hollow, even though you feel like you're doing everything right. So I hope the listeners, if you didn't catch those questions that she was asking herself, go back and listen to that, because to allow yourself permission to dig into, what do I want?
If you're in that darker place where you've never really allowed yourself to consider what's possible, it can actually be challenging. I remember the first time I ever was like attending a big personal growth event, and I was in a room with thousands of people, and we did this exercise called the time machine, where you flash forward 3 years and you're just like, my life is amazing. Here's how everything worked out. This is what I do. And you just really embody that vision. And I had such a hard time with that exercise. I was like, have never even thought about this before. I didn't even realize it was an option for me to think about what my life could be like. And I remember breaking down and crying, and it was so uncomfortable, so challenging, because I had never really allowed myself to consider these possibilities or that vision before. So depending on where you are in your journey, you might be like, I'm a visioning pro. Of course I know exactly what I want, but maybe you're not. Maybe you're earlier on and you're like, self-discovery abundance journey, and it is uncomfortable to really let yourself imagine what is possible and ask yourself the kind of life you want to live.
Yeah, definitely. And isn't the bizarre part there, that is literally a process that we're doing in our head. Sure, we can do the vision boards and all that, but just to sit with yourself and allow yourself to go to that place and dream big of the world of possibility, that can feel scary. And nobody else even knows what you're thinking, right? It's just you and your thoughts who are shaping your reality. And that can feel like a scary, scary place sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's reasons why. There's reasons why our mind keeps us stuck where we are and holds us back from not only imagining the possibility, but also going for it too. And I think this is part of the pattern that keeps people stuck in an unfulfilling life, in a life rooted in scarcity and not enoughness, and holds them back from going all in on their vision, going for their entrepreneurship leap of faith, being able to say yes to the kind of life they want to live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. Let's talk about to your approach with money then. How did you transform? Because you said you had a good relationship with it. How have you tweaked your relationship with it?
Yeah. So for me in my journey, I had the good foundations of being responsible with my money, managing my money, being able to track my money. So I had those types of foundations, but I didn't have the abundance mindset. I was living a life very much rooted in scarcity, lack, not enoughness. And that's very, very common for the work that I do with my clients, is actually they often have both. They're in this scarcity mindset. They don't believe that they are worthy and deserving, right? Because it's not just about money. Your relationship with money is also just a reflection of your relationship with yourself. So when we do this deep inner money healing, it's actually a really deep personal growth and transformation. That's one key component, is that internal world, the thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs, the stories, the narrative that you have around money, self-worth, scarcity, fear, lack. There's that component. And then there's the tangible component of managing, tracking, being intentional, being conscious, being strategic with your money. And for me, it was healing my own self-worth and learning to step into the mindset, the belief, the energy of abundance. But for my clients, really, they often have an aversion to managing their money, tracking their money. And there's a lot of fear and stress and overwhelm around that. And at the same time, they're trying to take this leap of faith in themselves, run their own business, leave the traditional 9 to 5 job. But money is literally the thing holding them back from doing that. And money is also the thing blocking a flow of abundance in their business. Really learning to be in control of it and manage it, and also doing the important inner work that ties into that, is so important. Otherwise, you're really unable to actually pull off your abundant vision. You're unable to take that leap of faith. You're unable to actually land sales and make money in your business if there's scarcity holding you back. And also if you're not in control of your money and you feel like your money is in control of you.
Yeah, totally. So you mentioned fear in there. So if somebody has a fear, one of those fears based around money, what kind of strategies do you work with on people to kind of dispel that?
So the whole first month of my program, before we even start to actually look at your money and manage and track your money, we are just diving into deep internal awareness around scarcity. And those are the foundations. And so I teach my clients how to uncover what I call scarcity seeds, which are the scarce based beliefs that define you, your relationship with money, and the way that you see the world as well. So first, uncovering the scarcity seeds that resonate for you and the scarcity seeds that have been currently impacting you. Then I teach my clients how to pull out these scarcity seeds through a coaching technique called story work, where we find the moment in time from childhood or young adulthood where these scarce-based beliefs were implanted, where you learned something about money because something happened, like small trauma, big trauma. Something here created this scarce-based belief, whether that was about money or about yourself, self-worth, being deserving. And so through the story work process, we uncover these pivotal moments in time, these memories that created the narrative and the story around money. And I teach my clients how to go through this process to unearth the scarcity seeds and release the hold and the grip that it has had on their identity. So that releases a ton of energy and just takes the narrative around money from just being this default assumed thing to, oh, this is not inherently true. And actually, I can have a totally different relationship with money. I can have a totally different perspective on the world and even on myself. That is one technique that I use with my clients, which plays a really big role. And then one other piece that we use is looking at the different parts of yourself and what motivates them, what drives them, and how that impacts how you are currently creating this life that you are living, and finding the parts of you that are rooted in fear and scarcity and therefore are keeping you in your current comfort zone and are preventing you from stepping into your next level of abundance. When we bring such deep awareness to our scarcity seeds, our scarcity stories, and our scarcity selves, those things no longer have power over you. And basically what happens is my clients see very clearly how they are actively creating the reality that they're currently living, and now suddenly have more power and control over their ability to shift that reality into one that's more in alignment with where they want to go and the life they want to live.
That must be really fun to watch. The aha moments and that shift happening for people.
I really believe that your relationship with money is not about money. Money is actually a perfect reflection of you, your beliefs about yourself and your beliefs about the world. It's kind of like if you're in a relationship with another person, maybe even, let's just say, a romantic relationship. That other person is a mirror for you, and they're going to bring up your beliefs, your fears, your patterning, your trauma, your mindset, because you're going to trigger each other and impact each other and play out these narratives that you've likely played out before in your life, right? And that other person is a reflection of you and your beliefs on the world. But it's kind of a blurry reflection because that other person is also bringing in their own stories, their mindset, their narratives, their traumas, their triggers, and they're bringing that to the relationship as well. As you're in the relationship, you kind of have to pull apart which of this is you and your junk, and what of this is me and my junk, versus money is a perfect, clear mirror because it's not bringing anything to the table except what you project onto it, what you have been taught to believe about money based on society, based on what you were taught growing up. Money doesn't grow on trees. If you have a lot of money, you're a bad person. Asking people for money for my services makes me an evil, bad, wrong person. I'm taking something from them. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not deserving, right? All of that is projected onto your money. So whatever your current financial situation is, it is here for a reason, and it is because you are creating it. subconsciously without even knowing it, but based on your beliefs, your patterning, your mindset, your identity, and your self-worth, you are the one creating your current financial situation. So when you change your relationship to yourself, when you shift your identity and your beliefs within yourself and around money, that is what transforms your whole financial situation.
Interesting perspective there. And just think of it, money as a mirror too. Is I automatically go to thinking of, okay, all the person has to do then is look at their bank account to see, is it in the red? Is it sitting at zero? Is it really high up? To kind of know then where your beliefs and your values are sitting if you're using that as the thermostat to gauge the reflection of those two things.
Yes, absolutely. And it doesn't necessarily have to be all amount based. I think amount plays a huge role into it, but it's more of your thoughts and your emotional response to this situation and also to money in general and to the amount. If you're someone that believes having a lot of money is evil and bad, whether that's a conscious thought or not, then you having a low amount of money on the one hand might cause you a lot of money stress, and you might be thinking, oh, I wish I could have more money often. But at the same time, there's another part of you, there's another self within you that is like, oh, thank goodness I'm not an evil person. I'm a good person because I don't have a lot of money. And it's these conflicting beliefs and these conflicting selves that keep you in this current situation that you're living in. So recognizing like there's a way that you're creating the situation, and it's by uncovering not only how much do you have, but what's your relationship to how much you have? How do you feel about it?
Fascinating. And yet to think of yourself having multiple selves kind of sounds creepy, right? But you can feel that because you know there are things that you want and that there are parts of you that are terrified of that same thing that you want, right? So what kind of energetic work do you do?
My energetic work ties really deeply into these components that we're talking about, like the story work, the selves work, and the shadow work, because there are actual techniques that I walk my clients through where we do this. It's not just like sit there and receive Reiki, although I am a Reiki practitioner and I do like bring Reiki into my coaching. But these are techniques where you're really bringing a lot of deep awareness to these parts of you, the stories, and we're actually clearing it out, similar to a somatic release. So what happens is moments in time happen, whether they're big trauma, little trauma. Here's an example is I had a client who we uncovered a story of her being in junior high or high school, and everyone was wearing the popular expensive jeans and her family couldn't afford them. She couldn't get the jeans. And that's just like a blip in time. She was like, oh, I didn't even remember this until doing our coaching work. And yet that moment in time instilled the belief in her of we don't have extra money, we don't deserve the fancy things, right? There's a lot of meaning that comes from that. So when moments in time happen, it instills a belief, and also it can trap the energy in our body if we don't process through the emotions, right? Maybe she's a teenager who feels very upset about it, and then her parents are kind of like, this isn't important, like shut it down. You should be grateful for what we have. And she's taught to shut down those emotions and not to fully process and move through that energy. So now you have this instilled belief and you have trapped emotions around it, and it just becomes your identity. It just becomes your reality. So when you go through this deep awareness process and the process of also creating space between your reality and the beliefs that created your reality, and you can see it clearer, and then you also process through the emotions that gets you out of a fight or flight state so you can see your life objectively and create a new reality and see what is actually true, what is real, and how do I actually want to live my life? What do I really want to believe? What actually serves me? And how can I instill these new beliefs, but not from a place of just repeating a bunch of affirmations over and over again that don't really work, and instead going with the core foundational subconscious level.
Yeah, I love that because it's so true. Our reality is what we have perceived it to be. I could be in the same situation as my two siblings, yet we could each have a different perception and a different way that we saw that situation and be carrying that forward into our life. And we've shaped a belief about that. We have our own opinion on that. We are all creating our own reality and the spillover into all the areas of our life. So it's neat that you can go dig into that and ruffle that up again and create a new reality and a new belief.
Yeah. Yeah. And because everything is instilled at such a young age, we just take it as is. We're like, this is just the way the world is. This is just inherently true and accurate. But it's really not, because when you're born, from the moment you're born, for all of your childhood and even into your young adulthood too, you're just learning. You're learning, you're patterning, you're programming, kind of like an empty computer chip. You're just taking in all that information based on your experiences, based on your parents, based on the situations you grew up in. And that's why different people turn out differently. That's why some people are really successful. That's why some people are not. It's because you're being programmed in some way. And the thing that not everybody realizes is that you can change the program. It doesn't have to be inherently true.
Yeah, that is so true. For anybody listening that has taken that on as fact, that things are just the way they are, it is not true. You can change the programming. And that's in itself, if you've got yourself to that stuck point. And sometimes we just need to give ourselves that reminder, because we all hit stuck points, whether it's for financial abundance or what area of our life, just to allow ourselves to go into that place and switch things up, shift it up, right? I would love to hear your perspective on one of my favorite questions of the show. What is your biggest piece of advice you have for someone to go out and create a life of financial abundance?
I think the biggest piece is recognize that you are the one in control of your life. Because yes, you might have these default patterns and programs that are impacting you. And also, it's fully in your control to shift that narrative. And when you do shift the narrative, it really does show up and impact your actual reality in really big ways. I see it all the time with my clients. When you make these internal mindset shifts and internal perspective shifts, the world just opens up with possibilities you weren't even considering or didn't even know were an option before. So you have control over the internal narrative. And also, when it comes to tangibly with your money, you're also in control of your money and in control of your life as well. Sometimes, especially when clients come to me, they feel like money is in control of them. Money is telling you what you can do, what you can't do, and it's holding you back from really living the life you want to live. But money is not in control of your life. In fact, you are in control of your money right now, whether you're aware of it or not. So when you learn to really see your money clearly, manage your money, track your money, and you do this internal work around your money, that's when you put that power and control back in your hands, not only for your money, but how you live your life. And really, you can wield your money as a powerful tool to actually create the life you want to live instead of it being the thing holding you back from it.
So good. Thank you for sharing that. That's why it's my favorite question of the show, because it's always tweaked slightly onto who my guest is, but to have so many fun guests on here with areas of expertise and really be able to pick their brain and go into those golden nuggets, right? I love it. And I would love for you to share with the guests where they can reach out and find you. And I think you have a fun gift to share with them too.
Yes, absolutely. So I would love to continue this conversation. I always love to hear what resonates with people. So there are a couple different ways that you can connect with me. If you're curious to learn more about the work I do and having a conversation about your relationship with money, you can book a free 30-minute abundance activation session with me, where we'll be exploring your current scarcity seeds, uncovering those, tapping into your vision and getting clear on where you want to go, and then mapping a path to help you get there. And then if you want to explore receiving additional support with this work, we can have that conversation as well. And you can book that session with me at my website, thebizhippie.com/activate. If you just want to connect more, I am on Instagram at the Biz Hippie. And then one other fun thing I love to offer is if you're curious to know a little bit more about your money mindset and you're unsure of where you're at after hearing this whole conversation, I have a free quiz, which will help you see what type of money mindset you are. And you can take that quiz also on my website, thebizhippie.com/quiz.
All right, fun. I will link all that in the show notes so it's easy to click through for people. And thank you so much for joining me on the show today, Scarlett, and having this conversation.
Thank you for having me, Jen.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Manifestation and Money podcast. If today's conversation lit a spark in you and you're craving a space to go deeper with your vision, to actually live what you are manifesting, I want to invite you into something really special. It's called the Manifestation Playground, a high vibe monthly membership where you get to experiment with manifestation techniques, connect in intimate pods of like-minded people, and receive direct mentorship from me twice a month inside our cozy Zoom room. This is where your dream life stops living in your journal and starts showing up in your reality. Vision, energy, accountability, it's all happening inside the Manifestation Playground, and your group might be forming right now. Just head to www.manifestationplayground.ca or click on the link in the show notes to learn more and save your seat. And remember, your vision isn't random. It is your future waiting for you to believe in it. I'll see you next time or inside the playground.